Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 16 of Mad Dialogue with me, Michelle.
And me, Skylar.
I hope everybody's doing well. We're not going to keep you too long. We're just going to jump straight into it. So, I came, you know me, on social media, always finding something. So, I came across Cabbage Patch Dolls. Now, in 1983 in the UK, Cabbage Patch Dolls came about, and basically it was as is. They were sort of laid out like in a cabbage, and you were able to name them. You got adoption papers and so on and so forth. And I remember I wanted one as well. I'm not even going to lie. So
I was looking, I wanted one. Oh, Lord.
So going further into it, the Cabbage Patch Dolls originated from what was known as the Cabbage Patch Kids, and these came about in the 1850s, and there was postcards and everything that literally showed cabbages with babies in them, or you saw their heads rather, and farmers. And so there they were telling you, as they say in plain sight, telling you the truth that they were growing babies. Now, in the 1850s, there was civil war to end slavery. Obviously, some wanted it and the others didn't. There was also the Great Flood and increased immigration. So it was known at this point as like the Great Reset, from what I've gathered. So the World Fair introduced an incubator that could produce 12 months growth in 1 hour. Now, incubators today are used to help babies that are born prematurely, but this is not saying that. Okay, there you go then. Well, here it's saying that could produce 12 months growth in 1 hour. And then all of a sudden, there are these influx of babies, and they had women that were dressed as nurses that were, apparently taking care of them. Now, in 1893, the World's Fair in Chicago was selling complete setups for growing human babies to hospitals and amusement parks. So,
see, the hospital side of it, one could argue, okay, that makes sense, but to an amusement park now.
Right. And so I'm not being funny, but for me, this is the first example or the first known human cloning, even though they will say that they have not managed it yet. But okay, so if they haven't managed it, why are there 13 cloning centers around the world? There's even one in the United Kingdom, and apparently years ago I remember that they cloned a sheep that they named Dolly. Right. They even grew an ear on the back of a rat. I actually remember the picture of the ear literally growing out of a human ear, growing out of the rat's back. So
and I'm not being funny as well, it's no secret that there's a lot of scientists that like to do hybrids and stuff and mix animals,
and there's so much films that depict this, and once again they have to show us the truth, and the best way to do that is in films, because then people just believe that it's entertainment, but half of these films are actually like documentaries. I'm just being so for real. So there's a rapper, I had never heard of him until I saw his interview, and he's called Kid Boo, and he says he's a second generation clone. And more recently I saw a video where he went live, and whilst he was sitting there he called his clone in and introduced his clone in. His clone was sitting there next to him, and people were like saying, touch your clone and this, that and the other. I didn't watch the video long enough to see if he was going to touch the clone, but there has been so many rumors that have circulated that there are a lot of celebrities that have been cloned. They also said Gucci Mane, Kodak Black, but I also heard Tom Cruise,
Avril Lavigne back in 2006.
What about Avril Lavigne?
See, this is a known one, and this is one I've always heard. I remember being back in year 5, and my friend came and told me she'd been on a deep dive that night, and she found out that Avril Lavigne was cloned in 2006. But I don't know, like, you know, if anyone else watches this, but I was also watching Inside Job on Netflix the other day, and it was like the episode was about clones basically, and they had all these clones in there, you know, the Beatles, like JFK, all of them lot. And then fucking Avril Lavigne, because they were like, yeah, like she was cloned in 2006. And that, I remember that being one of the first like memories of cloning I heard about was her. And I'm not being funny, you can see it. Like, I remember being 10 years old and I was like, I can see that ain't her, you know?
Yeah. It's and for me, I'm not being funny, but I do believe that they have done cloning. I'm sorry, I'm a bit distracted only because I'm trying to find that Kanye West video.
Oh yeah. Oh, my gosh,
what's it called? It's on the tip of my tongue. I'll find it, unless they've totally deleted it off of.
And it was always him. I'm not gonna lie.
Famous.
The
song's called Famous, and the video is up, and in that's
when there's all of the celebrities.
Yeah, there's that's right, they're all in the bed, one long bed, white sheets, and they're sleeping, and this is them apparently on the last stages of like proper forming, I guess. But Kanye himself was in there. Kim, Amber Rose, Donald Trump. What's the lady that's the fashion? She's a big fashion designer.
Vera Wang?
No.
Donatella Versace?
No, she was the one that was basic. They said that Meryl Streep was taking her off in The Devil Wears Prada. I can't remember her name, but there were Ray J. Like there were a lot of celebrities in that. Oh, and Rihanna. Yeah. So I do believe that it is actually a thing.
Yeah, 100%.
I think what's crazy is how far back it actually began.
But I'm not being funny. It's this thing where they'll have everyone believing that they don't have certain technology and they don't have the powers to do certain things.
Yes.
And then it's like one day, oh, boom, we've just got it. You know what I mean? And I don't understand how people don't see that themselves, where it's like, yeah, suddenly we didn't have all this technology and now we just do overnight. You know what I mean? Like these people have been having this stuff. They're just using it for what they want to use it for before they even let civilization know it's a thing.
But the thing about it is that with the technology, I saw a video where this woman was saying that all the technology that you see that they have now, they are like actually 20, 30 years ahead of what they're actually showing us. Do you know what I'm saying? And so with that in mind, then you can't tell me.
We do have flying cars right now, guys. Everyone that said, oh, you know, like in your age group that thought, yeah, by now they are there. We just ain't got them yet.
Yeah, exactly that. But no, with there was something else I wanted to say with regards to the whole cloning
the kids,
thing.
how the kids looked?
It's like, huh?
How the kids looked?
Oh, yeah. Those kids look weird. Because obviously anything when you're first experimenting, you're going to have mistakes. It's like when you make the first pancake.
Yeah. Don't you think as well, if you 12 months in 1 hour, if that's how quickly they were created, so to speak,
back then
they're going to age so much
quicker. That's a good point.
Once they're, you know what I mean?
That's
if you're
very
looking at it like that.
Good point. So the thing about it is, if let's just say, for example, that they are still producing Cabbage Patch Kids, so some of these children would be given up for adoption. Because that was another thing. I saw it. I guess like it's like a theme park or something. I say theme park, but basically this man went there and he visited it, and he said you can't tell me anything, it's really creepy. And when you saw the grassed area, there was like ceramic things with Cabbage Patch with the baby's head in it, just like I was saying was in the postcard. And when he walked through, I'm trying to remember if the floor was actually Masonic. However, apparently it had pictures of all these celebrities on the wall, and apparently all of these celebrities had been there and adopted a Cabbage Patch doll. So I was, in my mind, I'm like, did they get a doll or an actual child, an actual Cabbage Patch child? Do you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not being funny. Think about it. Yeah, there's a lot of celebrities. You don't see them pregnant, but then the next minute they've got a baby, and they always say a surrogate. But what if it's not a surrogate? What if it is actually they're getting them from this Cabbage Patch thing, and they're growing them? You just don't know, though, do you?
You really don't. You really don't. Like, and this is the thing. It's so funny because I feel like with a lot of like these, conspiracy theories, so to speak, when people would say them, especially like, not present day, but even back to 10 years ago, people would be so quick to be like, you're crazy, you're coming up with all this stuff. But it's just really funny that a lot of theories people have came up with are now coming to light. You know what I mean? Like, a lot more shit is coming out in the open. So really and truly, you can't actually put anything aside and say, oh no, that's too far-fetched, because it really isn't. You know what I mean?
And another thing that makes me question it is because I understand evolution and all the rest of it, but I find it really surprising that a lot of women are falling pregnant much later in life.
Yeah,
like 40s, 50s, when us ordinary women are premenopausal by them times there and would be struggling to have
I feel like, for
a
me,
child.
Like, as women, I don't know if, a lot of them, when you kind of reach that point in your life where you want a baby, you know what I mean? I don't know if some women just aren't getting that, or if they're so career focused or what. But still,
to be able then to go on to have a baby at that time of life, and you don't have but this is the thing, even them ones that say that they're freezing eggs, and are you just putting up a front? I keep doing this, I'm so sorry, but you're putting up a front in order to fool the masses into thinking, oh yeah, this is why I have a baby, because I froze my eggs and this that, when in fact you have just bought a Cabbage Patch
baby.
Because I'm not being funny, if it's something that they put so much effort into from way back when, to the point where they're doing world fairs with them, and like I said, there are 13 cloning facilities in the world that we know of, and I Google searched that today and saw that, and it was interesting because of the 13 they didn't mention one in Canada, and Kid Boo said that he was cloned at a cloning center in Canada. And there is one, it's called Clonade. You know me and my pronunciation, just like it's Clonaid, right?
Clonade,
right? So therefore there are more that we're not privy to. Do you know what I'm saying? And maybe them ones, maybe these 13 are the surface ones, like we're just testing, we're just doing this, we're just doing that, but we're not doing human cloning. And the ones we don't know about are the ones that they're doing the deep. I just saw Frankenstein in my head there.
But at this point,
because they could be producing super soldiers and shit like that. You just don't know. You just don't know, but that's my thoughts on it anyway. Call me a conspiracy theorist. I would like to call myself a conspiracy realist, okay? Because there is more to this world than we can see, but yeah. So that's what we have for you this week, people. Yep. And so if you do want to see that Kid Boo, where he's in the interview talking about being a second generation clone, that I found that on Vlad TV. That's a VLAD TV on YouTube, DJ Vlad. So shout out to you for that, because I don't like to take credit for things that, I didn't. Yeah. Anyway, so that's all we have time for this week, people. And I hope everyone has a fantastic week. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you so much. You have no idea. Thank you. And as always, I'm sending an abundance of love and light. It's goodbye from me, Michelle, and goodbye from Skylar.
Bye.
Bye.